Yeah, I got some of that old school Deftones for you. You youngins don't know shit about that. Anywho, the date is January 29th, 2018. It's currently 11 p.m. Filming this late. This is the Juriari Show, and I am Juriari. Tonight I will be going over the results for both NXT Takeover and NXT Takeover Philadelphia and Royal Rumble, which happened this past weekend. Gotta say, really good cards. Usually it's one or the other. It's usually NXT that usually thrives, and the actual main roster product, it kind of underperforms, but pretty good shows in my opinion. Alright, well, I guess we'll start off with NXT TakeOver. NXT TakeOver was at the Wells Fargo Arena on Saturday, January 27th. The first match on the card was the Undisputed Era, the Tag Team Champions, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, versus the Authors of Pain. The Undisputed Era won. I literally got home when this match happened. It was like maybe 4 or 5 minutes in. Not a terrible match, but not a great match. The Authors of Pain, I know a lot of people shit on them. I at least give them a chance. They're kind of sloppy for big guys, and it doesn't help that the guys are up against are like my height, which I'm not making fun of them for that, but it's kind of hard to work a match against someone who's like 3 times your size. The Authors of Pain, I'm almost positive that they're going to make it to the main roster. Would Paul Ellering make it to the main roster? I wouldn't see why he wouldn't. I mean, he has legendary status, and they're all about giving, old-timers, the spotlight, but I don't know, in WWE, they might try to put him with someone else. Might be a hot broad or something. Either way, Authors of Pain, I think they'd be best suited maybe putting him with someone. I don't know. I mean, it'd be pretty interesting if they put him with Samoa Joe and have Samoa Joe form his own faction. Matter of fact, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't know. It's always good to have people around you, because that kind of elevates your status. I mean, Samoa Joe doesn't need it because he can, whoop ass on his own, but I don't know. Be pretty interesting to watch. But then you'd have to watch him fall down for Roman with his machine gun hand. Ugh. Anywho, next match on the card is Velveteen Dream Patrick versus Cassius Ohno. Velveteen Dream won. Very short match. I'm actually starting to like Velveteen Dream, because Patrick, I heard of him from Tough Enough. I didn't actually watch Tough Enough because I got better shit to do with my time. The only thing I knew about him was that he got booted off the show, and it caused a huge ruckus because he was a guy that was actually there because he wanted to wrestle and be a wrestler, and he loved wrestling. He wasn't like everyone else that just wanted to be there to just be on TV. So I'm starting to like this gimmick. I mean, it's hokey, but that's the point of wrestling, is hokey works to an extent. Cassius Ohno, I don't even know where to begin with this guy. The name is already bad enough. Like, I don't understand why they couldn't just let him be Chris Hero. That sounds better. Cassius Ohno, why would they give him an Asian man's name? Like, why? And it also doesn't help that he looks like he's about to give birth to 15 puppies. I mean, he can work. There's no doubt about that. But the fact that he comes out in a NBA jersey, it just looks weird. He is not going to the main roster, and I know people are going to be like, "Oh, Bray Wyatt, well, Samoa Joe." Bray Wyatt looks like he can fuck someone up. Samoa Joe looks like he can fuck someone up. Kevin Owens looks like he can beat someone's ass and he can actually work. Cassius Ohno he's just not pleasant to look at. I mean, he can be best suited for a job as maybe like a trainer. That's about it. That's probably the best thing I can think for him. But as far as actually being on the main roster and being something, he will be jobbed out within seconds. I can almost guarantee it. So yeah, this match, not a bad match. Velveteen Dream, he gives a pretty mean elbow drop, I'll give him that. And it seems like the elbow drop is starting to become a new trend. It's starting to become the new super kick, which I hope everybody doesn't start using it. Anywho, next match on the card is the NXT Women's Championship. Ember Moon, the champion, defeated Shayna Baszler. I'll be honest with you, I didn't know much about Shayna Baszler coming in. They showed a package on the before the match started where I guess she's depicted as like the bully of NXT, and she would go to the Performance Center and start bullying around, with like the younger talent or whatever. Interesting package. The way they were building this up is they made it look like she was going to win. And during the match, there was a point where her whole shtick is that she'll quote-unquote break someone's arm and then make him submit. During the match, she quote-unquote breaks Ember Moon's arm, and somehow Ember Moon manages to use her finisher, which I'm blank on the name of her finisher. I know it's some type of off the top rope stunner, which I actually like. And she somehow rolls her up 1, 2, 3, and after the match, Shayna Baszler beats the shit out of Ember Moon. So where do they go from here? I'll be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Ember Moon. I think she's very talented. I just don't get what her gimmick is supposed to be. I don't know if she's supposed to be some type of black vampire or some type of like character from Dungeons and Dragons or Moon Knight. What is her gimmick? Could someone please tell me her gimmick? She's very talented, but just nothing about her really appeals to me. Like, I see her and like when I would see Bayley, it's like, okay, she's cool. Like, I would get hyped to see Bayley. Whenever I would see Sasha, even Sasha, I would get hyped to see Sasha. Same thing with Charlotte, same thing with Becky. Or, Asuka, of course. What is it about Ember Moon that I should find appealing? And by that, I don't mean her looks. She's a very good-looking girl. But, like, her gimmick, I don't get what her gimmick is supposed to be. If I don't know what her gimmick is, why should I care? Why should I be a fan of her? Why should I be invested in her? So, she'll more than likely be moved to the main roster soon. Shayna Baszler, they seem like they want to build they might want to make her a top star. This is going to sound mean, but she kind of looks like a female Baron Corbin. I'm sorry. That's just me. She can more than likely beat my ass, but she looks like a female Baron Corbin. Anyways, that match happened. Next match on the next... I can't talk today. Next match of the night is... Well, the match of the night, in my opinion. Well, it might be a tie with the main event. Aleister Black against Adam Cole in an Extreme Rules match. Aleister Black came on top. Talk about two guys that I don't think that they've ever wrestled before, but man, they do have good chemistry. Aleister Black, he's going to be the champ. He's going to take that belt from Almas and at the next Takeover, which is obviously going to be Takeover New Orleans for Mania. He's legit. He's what the WWE, they see him and then they look at Baron Corbin and go, oh, so that's what Baron was supposed to be like. He's legit. He's a legit badass with tats. Baron Corbin is just a guy that probably got his sleeve in one day. That he probably just found out what he looks like the type of guy that found out who Avenged Sevenfold was. Aleister Black's like, oh, that's cute. I listen to Norwegian death metal. I will fucking eat you alive. I'm just kind of scared what will happen to him on the main roster. Anyways, Adam Cole looked like $1 million in this match. So did Aleister. There was a really tough spot where what is it? I believe it was either Aleister or Adam that did this, where they set up two chairs back to back, And Adam flips Alistair, and he lands on his back onto the top of the chairs. I'm like, oof. Oof. That made my back hurt just looking at it. I mean, it was a pretty sweet spot, but oof. Oof, yikes. I mean, it's just you're relieved that he came out unscathed. It's like, yay, good spot, but I'm sorry, dude. Sorry about your back. Another pretty decent spot that he had was it was outside, and Adam Cole was laying on the table. Well, he wasn't laying. He was kind of, I guess, positioned to lay on it. He was more like kind of sitting on it, and then he looked like he was going to just lay back. Alistair then kind of does like his version of like a coup de grace and lands on Adam and lands to the table. Pretty nice spot. Not as good as the chair one. Not as painful either. Anyways, the match ends with Black Mass, which I think that's a pretty cool move. I just find it kind of odd that a guy who looks that scary and tough is using a spinning kick. I don't know, that's just me. He wins 1, 2, 3. The Undisputed Era, actually during the match, the Undisputed Era came out and attacked Black, trying to cost him another match, which then proceeded with Sanity coming out to assist and take out the Undisputed Era, which I think that's a weird name. I don't get why they're calling it Undisputed Era. Either way, a great match. I wouldn't mind watching this match again. I might just watch it again. Anywho, main event is the NXT champion Andrade Cien Almas with Zelina Vega versus Johnny Gargano. Holy fucking shit, I have never heard a crowd this white fucking hot for a guy. Like, I've never heard it. It was so loud I could feel it from my television. Gargano is... for a second, I honestly thought he was going to win it. I thought he was going to win it. And I... Very rarely do I mark out for matches anymore. But I was marking out to the fucking fullest extent in this match. I probably used the wrong word, but I don't give a fuck. There were so many near falls, false finishes, and the crowd was eating it the fuck up. Gargano, it almost seems like they're making him into the new Daniel Bryan, but at this point I think Gargano is more likable than Daniel Bryan, let's just be real. There is a point in the match where Zelina does like a Hurricane Rana. Was it a Hurricane Rana? Yeah, it was a Hurricane Rana. She tries to go after him again, and then Candice LeRae, who's Johnny Gargano's real life wife, jumps out of the crowd and starts beating the shit out of Zelina, which I pop for. And I don't know much about Candice LeRae, but from what I've seen on YouTube, she is a tough chick. She has been in some very bloody matches. She's no pushover. There was actually a pretty interesting video with her and the Young Bucks and Adam Cole, where she proceeded to beat the shit out of all three of them. She's not afraid to get a little messy. And I'm talking about wrestling, of course. But that was a pretty sweet spot. That was probably the first time I ever heard a crowd pop for someone's family. Usually it's always like, someone just sitting there not knowing how to react. Candice knew how to react. She came out and beat the shit out of her. She didn't just slap around. She just, no, I'm going to take you out, bag bitch, and beat the fuck out of you for messing with my man. Oof, great spot. In the end, Almas won. Almas, I'm not too big on him, but it has to do a lot with Gargano, who made him look like $1 million, who sold his shit and made his shit look good. Almas looked pretty good out there. He wins with a pretty brutal spot where he uses his running knees onto the side post of Gargano's head, which first I honestly thought Gargano was a little looped up. At the end of the night, Almas uses his move to defeat Gargano, which I know sounds kind of weird. 1, 2, 3. At the end of the night, the crowd shows their respect to Gargano, which it was kind of emotional to watch because this guy really worked his ass off, and it for a second looked like he would have won. Goes, Candice LeRae helps her man to the top of the stage, and out of nowhere, Tommaso Ciampa, his former best friend, hits him on the back with his crutch, and the whole crowd booed him mercilessly. You would have thought that was Roman Reigns. No. That's something that is not seen a lot in WWE, which is real heel heat. Because those two are the best of friends, and he turned his back on him, and now he's back to ruin his moment again, and he looks like a fucking heel. Oof. That's a match that will be at Takeover in New Orleans. That's a match I want to see like ASAP, and I'm almost positive that Ciampa will win because he's a heel, and heels need to win. Overall, great show. The last two matches of the night, those are match of the year candidates. There's no doubt about that. Gargano, he'll be on the main roster soon. I'm just not sure what they'll do with him. I mean, because he'll be the face. He can go on 205 Live and be the face of that show, but why would you even want to be the face of 205 Live? I don't think anyone on there wants to be on that show. And you can't put him on Raw because then he'd have to sell for Roman and make Roman shit look good. You can probably put him on SmackDown. And can you imagine that? Johnny Gargano versus AJ Styles? Oof. That's a match I'm pretty sure would break the internet. Anywho, I give the show, just based on those last two matches alone, I give the show 9 out of 10. Anywho, let's move on to the main show, which is the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble 2018 from the Wells Fargo Center on January 28th, 2018, Raw and SmackDown. I didn't watch the pre-show matches, so we can just skip through that. The first match on the card is AJ Styles. Well, we can go through the pre-show match results real quick. The first match was Kalisto, Gran Metalik, and Lince Dorado defeating TJP, Gentleman Jack Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. I didn't watch the match, like I just said, but I saw there was a pretty sweet spot where all three guys did a moonsault, out of the ring, which, that always makes people happy. The Revival defeated Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. And nobody cares. Bobby Roode holds an invitational for his United States Championship, which people were hyping up, and then it ends up being Mojo Rawley, which he defeats. This is why I don't watch pre-shows. Anyway, the first match of the actual show, AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a handicap match for the WWE Championship, or it turned out to be more of just a tag match. AJ Styles won. I literally just got out of work and I put this match on while I was in my car. I wasn't watching it, by the way. I'm a safe driver. I just had the audio play and I was listening to it. And I got home, watched the rest of it. Good match. Not a great match. There was kind of a weird spot at the end where it just seems like they're just doing the same old shit they did with Owens and AJ Styles last summer, where supposedly the ref screwed him. Where there's a spot where AJ and Sammy were going at it, and Sammy looks as if he's going for a tag, but he doesn't, or he's not able to tag in Kevin, and AJ throws Sammy out of the ring. Kevin comes in, tries to do his pop-up powerbomb. AJ somehow counters into a pin, 1, 2, 3, wins the match. Still champion. And there's a bit in the back where Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are arguing with Shane McMahon, saying, "Did you see that? Did you see that? I got screwed again. Shane just answers with, "Yep," and walks away. I don't know what's with this feud with AJ and Kevin. Both are my favorite guys. I love them. Sammy I've never been too big on. I think he's been great in this heel run because he just kind of does the whole smarmy, I'm better than you, hipster prick gimmick, down to a T. I don't know, it just seems like Kevin and AJ can have good matches. They're capable of having great matches. But the storyline surrounding them just makes them not enjoyable. Because it's like, I got screwed by a referee. I got screwed by a referee. I got screwed by a referee. Every match somehow involves getting screwed by a referee. It always involves Kevin Owens somehow. And wasn't Daniel Bryan apparently supposed to be involved in this match somehow? I don't know. Anyways, this will more than likely continue somehow. Next match, the 2 out of 3 falls for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Usos versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Good match when it started out, but then it ended really abruptly. Like, I assumed they were going to make this match go to the limit where it was, 1-1, and the Usos or the other team, gets the second win or gets the second pin, submission, or whatever, and wins. Like, the first half of the match was really good. There's a lot of offense. The Usos, Jay and Jimmy, did like a double super kick on Chad Gable. 1, 2, 3, and then after that, the Gable and Benjamin proceeded to beat the shit out of the Usos. I was like, okay, about to get interesting. And then it just ends like that. I'm like, okay. There's a spot where I'm not sure if this was supposed to happen, where Shelton is right behind Gable. And it just looks like he pats him on the back and goes right in, and as soon as he gets in and is, I guess, setting one of the Usos up for, their finishing move, one of the Uso brothers, I'm forgetting who it was, just rolls up Shelton Benjamin 1, 2, 3, and they win the match 2-0. I guess they just wanted to have more time for the 2 Rumbles. That's just my opinion. I mean, because obviously the men's Rumble is going to go longer. They wanted the women's Royal Rumble to go longer. But I don't know. You could have easily shaved off at least 2 or 3 minutes of the, Sheamus, Cesaro, and Rollins and Jordan match and given it to this match. This match sorely needed it. I was assuming these two were going to go out there and tear it up, which they did for like the first half of the match, and then, like I said, it just ended abruptly, which kind of left me going, huh? Like, this is kind of weird. Anywho, that will more than likely continue somewhere down the road. Anyways, the 30-man Royal Rumble match is the next match on the card. Probably the best Rumble match I've seen in a while. The last great Rumble match I saw was the 2007 one here in San Antonio. I'm not just being biased because it's here in San Antonio, but that was probably the last great Rumble match, and maybe the year after where it was in New York. They really pulled all the stops. They had a lot of great surprises in this match. Probably without a doubt, the funniest part of the Rumble was there was a point in it where I'll just kind of briefly go through it. Rusev? I can't talk today. Rusev was the first draw, which he had a huge reaction. That Rusev Day is taken off like a rocket, pretty much. Finn Balor was number 2. And then after that, Rhino was number 3, and then Baron Corbin came out number 4, threw out Rhino, tried to eliminate Finn, and then Finn eliminated him. Baron lost his shit and pulled Finn and Rusev out of the ring. He didn't throw him over the top rope, but he just pulled him out of the ring and started beating the shit out of him. Pretty much, what he's saying is, if I can't win the Rumble, nobody else can. So the refs and the agents are trying to get him out of the ring, or get him out of the arena. Number 5 comes out, and it's Heath Slater, and Baron Corbin just lays him out. So the next 5 or 6 entrants, basically anytime they came out, they would see Heath and just like kick him out of the way or hit him or do something to him. Big E from the New Day came out and just gave him a stack of pancakes, or power pancakes, as Michael Cole said. There was a bit where Sheamus came out at number 10 and threw Heath in the ring, and then right as he's going into the ring, Heath immediately clotheslines him out of the ring. So I think that might be a new record. I think he might have either tied or broken Santino's record for the shortest time in the Rumble. Immediately after that, Bray throws him out of the match. As far as surprises go, good surprises. They brought in Cien Almas from NXT, the NXT champion, and he actually did a pretty good job. He lasted almost half an hour. He was eventually thrown out by Orton. They had a pretty sweet RKO spot, which everyone saw coming. The next surprise was Adam Cole from NXT, who I don't even think he eliminated anyone. A couple more surprises were the Hurricane, who tried to chokeslam John Cena, but to no avail. He was immediately thrown out, which they could have kept him in a lot longer than that. I mean, you're going to let Titus O'Neil be in for a lot longer than he's supposed to be, but you're only going to let Hurricane be in for like 10 seconds? Come on. He just came back. The people wanted to see him. You obviously knew he wasn't going to win, but you could have gave him a lot longer than just like a couple seconds. Come on. And at number 27 was Rey Mysterio, who got a huge pop, who he looks like he did in like 97. I'm like, is this like Halloween Havoc or something? He looks in really good shape, because the last time I saw him, he was kind of heavy. Not fat heavy, but like kind of stocky heavy. But he obviously looks like he's been taking care of himself. He was out there, turning him out the clock. It was like it was 20 years ago. Really dark, too. He's been sitting in the sun too long. He went out there and tore shit up. Gave a couple 619s. I can't fucking talk to you. What the hell's wrong with me? Gave a couple of 619s. Oh my god. To John Cena. Actually, he gave like 2 to John Cena. The final 4 in the Rumble ended up being Finn Balor, Nakamura, John Cena, and Roman Reigns, which, as much as I'm not a fan of Cena, he should not have been one of the final 4 people. Let's just be real. He knows he's not going to be in a big main event match at Mania. He's already filmed his movie. I was honestly expecting him to be eliminated within like maybe 15 minutes. I mean, he wasn't even in Survivor Series that long. Like, it was frightening how short he was in Survivor Series. Anyways, they were the final 4. Cena eliminated Balor to a flood of boos, to a "this is bullshit" chant, or just bullshit chant. There was a funny spot where Cena and Roman are facing off, and you just hear the crowds chanting, "You both suck, you both suck," and then Nakamura and Balor knock him out of the way, and they face off, and the whole crowd goes apeshit. It should have. I mean, to really get the crowd popping, it should have ended with Balor and Nakamura, but, gotta have Roman in there. You gotta have Roman, be one of the last men standing. Anywho, last men standing in it were Nakamura and Reigns, which they went back and forth. They traded finishers, and it ultimately ended with Nakamura giving a Shasta, which I'm pretty sure I'm announcing that wrong, and eliminating Roman Reigns. After the match, Renee Young asked him, "Who do you want to face at WrestleMania?" He answered with AJ Styles. That was a bad accent, I know. So they want to capitalize on that Wrestle Kingdom thing that happened in 2015 or 2016, I believe. So you got that to look forward to. Overall, like I said, great Rumble. Probably the best Rumble I've seen in years. They made the match enjoyable for the fans. They made the right decision by having Nakamura win. And they knew they were smart enough not to let Roman win, because you don't want to piss off this crowd, especially this Philly crowd who were willing to chop off Roman's head. Anywho, next match on the card, the Raw Tag Team Championships. Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan, the champs, versus Cesaro and Sheamus. The crowd could not give 2 flying fucks about this match, and I couldn't blame the guys, because the crowd was already like they had no more energy after that Rumble match. All their energy was given for that match. It was not that the match was terrible, but again, the audience they couldn't care less. It ends with Jordan apparently getting concussed during the match, and Cesaro and Sheamus taking advantage of the 2-on-1 and using their white noise or whatever the hell it's called to win back the tag team championships for the 4th time. So, your new tag team champions. The talk is that it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Jason Jordan at Mania, which, how far has Seth Rollins fallen on the card? He went from headlining Mania in 2015 to now facing Jason Jordan, which should be a good match, but I don't know. That's something I can get into on another show. Anywho, next match on the card, Brock Lesnar, the champion, versus Braun Strowman and Kane for the WWE Universal Championship. Someone pointed this out. Joey Numbers from the Wrestling Soup pointed this out, and he was right on point. Am I the only one that anytime I see Kane on television, or I saw Kane during this match doing something, I would just yell at the TV? Kane just needs to go away, for the love of Jesus. He's not scary. He's pudgy. He's wearing a bad mask with a weird wig. He needs to go back to his election and stay the hell away from wrestling. Kane, I was never a huge fan of Kane, but he was successful. He's not scary anymore. He's done. Braun Strowman, love him to death. Brock, I just hope to God he just loses the title at Mania. I mean, if it's Sir Roman, so be it. At least Roman's here every week. Out of all these 3 guys, Braun's the only guy that's going to show up at TV the next week. I mean, granted, Kane showed up tonight, but I'm pretty sure he's done. He's finished and good. Brock is just... I don't know if it's booking, because he signed some really weird, shitty contract where he can only work, like, I think 16 dates. I don't know if if his heart's not in it, or if he's just not working out as much, but he doesn't look good out there. I'm sorry. Like, he has a pooch, and I have one too, but I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to go out there and be a badass. He just seems like he doesn't care. And also, it doesn't look good when he's trying to lay out one of their youngest stars. There's a point in the match where Braun Strowman knees Brock in the face. I'm pretty sure he didn't do that on purpose, but the point of wrestling is, I'm no wrestler, but you also know how you have to know when to time, moves. You need to know when to time how to move your head, and Brock clearly did not move his head. And then Brock proceeded to call Braun a pussy and punch him in his temple. I don't know how Vince is going to handle that, but he should. There is no place for a guy who's supposed to be your main event draw and to punch your other top guy in the face or in the temple or the jaw and call him a pussy. Brock is just... this just needs to be over with. This shouldn't have even happened in the first place. I don't know how WWE allowed this to happen. I don't know how they're assuming that we wanted to see it happen. I'm done with Brock. End of story. When he loses at Mania, they just need to not sign him. Like, give that money to someone who deserves it. Anyways, main event match, the Women's Royal Rumble, the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. Not as bad as I thought it would be, but it still shouldn't have main evented the show. The one thing I did notice about the show was that the majority of the biggest pops of the night went to the women of yesteryear, such as Lita, who got a huge pop, which I was happy to see her. She did great in that match. Trish Stratus, who came out at number 30, she just never seems to age, does she? Even Molly Holly got a big reaction, and I don't hate Molly Holly, but if your older talent is getting better reactions than your younger talent, that tells you something. Because Becky and Sasha came out first as the first 2 participants, and they got they really didn't get a good reaction. The only current roster girls that I think got a good reaction were Asuka and Nia. That's about it. This isn't me trying to be some like male chauvinist pig, but this, wherever this match was placed on the card, it still would have been making history. But the fact that they made it the main event, ugh. Yeah, what else are we missing in this match? Oh yeah, Asuka won. Which I think pretty much everyone saw coming. It ended with her and Nikki Bella, of course, because Nikki Bella is Superwoman. She's married to Superman. At the end of the match, the two women champions, the two women that are champions, Charlotte and Alexa Bliss, come out to confront her, and what's her name? Renee Young asks her, "Who do you want to face?" Right as she's about to answer, Joan Jett comes on, and it's Ronda Rousey. Yay! Who comes out wearing a jacket that's way too big for her, which it actually turns out it's Roddy Piper's actual jacket. And his son actually gave her permission to wear it, which I thought was pretty cool. And she comes out with his same font on her shirt saying, Rowdy Ronda, which, okay, I respect the fact that she actually likes wrestling. Like, she grew up loving wrestling and she wants to be a wrestler. She's actually been training for at least over a year to be a wrestler, which I found respectable. It was just kind of weird that she came out and she's supposed to be this tough girl, this really badass, motherfucker. And the whole time she's smiling, and the only time she makes an intimidating face is when she's pointing at the sign. So she doesn't say who she's wrestling. So I'm just going to assume it's going to be Asuka versus Alexa and Ronda versus Charlotte, which I don't know why they didn't just announce that, sooner. But I don't know, WWE they're a bunch of weirdos. There were a bunch of weirdos that get my $9.99 every month. Anywho, my overall thoughts on the show. A little bit better than last year. The two rumbles were really good, especially the men's. The other matches were okay, except for the triple threat. Overall, I would give the show. I'm going to be kind and give it a B. 8 out of 10. Where does this leave us? The next pay-per-view event is February 25th, Elimination Chamber Raw, and it seems like they already have participants for that. John Cena won his Elimination Chamber match, as did Braun Strowman and Elias, which leaves at least, 3 more? I'm just going to assume it's Roman, because you got to make him look strong. Anywho, thank you all for listening. I'll be sure to let y'all know when my next show is coming out. I should be doing a show on Friday, so be on the lookout for that. Much love, and have a great night.